Hi friends, welcome to this video. Today we're talking about the latest addition to the iconic La Vie Est Belle family. We have a new La Vie Est Belle launch just 4 months after the launch of the L'Extrait version. The newest version of La Vie Est Belle is called Rose Extraordinaire, and in this video I'm going to share with you my full review of this perfume. I'm going to talk a little bit about Lancome and their marketing campaign, because the Lancome La Vie Est Belle line has become a bestseller, and the La Vie Est Belle fragrance range beats even the iconic Chanel Coco Mademoiselle. So what makes this fragrance line so successful? We're going to be talking about that as well. I'm going to make sure to compare this one and to share with you how this fragrance also compares to the rest of the range in the more popular versions of La Vie Est Belle. Before we start, I have a quick question for you. Let me know in the comments below what is your favorite La Vie Est Belle flanker and what was your favorite version of La Vie Est Belle over the years. This is going to be useful for our whole community because this is going to be our own ranking from a customer point of view. If you're new here and if you enjoy beauty talks, please take a moment to subscribe. I would love to welcome you to our beauty community. Here we love to take a break from our daily life and we love to talk about all things beautiful and pretty. Before we take a look at the new Lancome La Vie Est Belle Rose Extraordinaire, a few words about Lancome as a brand. This is a company founded in Paris in 1935 by the perfumer Armand Petitjean. He was joined by a French aristocrat and they both opened a small luxury boutique selling a selection of perfumes and beauty products. The symbol of Lancome became a single rose that was inspired by the roses that were blooming around Le Château de Lancôme. The name Lancome was created as a mixture between Le Château de Lancôme and Place Vendôme. The company was founded to produce fragrances and beauty products, and today it's known mostly for their skincare products. Lancome's first perfume, Conquête, was launched in 1935. Subsequent fragrances have included Magie in 1950, if I'm not mistaken, with a flacon by Lalique, Balafré, Climat, Sikkim, Magie Noire, Trésor, and La Vie Est Belle. These are the more popular ones that probably a lot of you have heard or know already. The company's headquarters and main factory are near Paris, and since 1964, Lancome has been owned by L'Oréal. In 2012, Lancome declared La Vie Est Belle, life is beautiful. 4 words charged with meaning. The name chosen by Lancome has resonated with millions of women worldwide and made La Vie Est Belle one of the best-selling and most popular fragrances worldwide in the past 10 years. What made La Vie Est Belle so special in the first place? I'll try to answer this question at the end of the video, and now let's take a look at the new La Vie Est Belle Rose Extraordinaire. This new version of La Vie Est Belle is very different from the previous 2 releases of La Vie Est Belle, Iris Absolue and L'Extrait. I only have the L'Extrait currently. I also have the Iris Absolue. These 2 versions are absolutely gorgeous. They lean more on the niche side, whereas the newest version is more, I would say, a happier fragrance. It's much lighter, it's not as complex, it's not as complicated as the past 2 versions of La Vie Est Belle. This is a floral, light, happy fragrance, perfect for the spring season, and it makes sense because Lancome labeled this new perfume as floral eau de parfum. What makes this perfume special is that it is composed of a heart built around iris concrete, and right now their iconic gourmand iris is accompanied by 3 different rose extracts: fresh rose water, Damascene Absolute, and Space Rose Accord. In the top notes, I can feel sweet orange and a touch of bergamot. This fruity floral explosion is enhanced by woody and musk undertones. The new version of La Vie Est Belle is a celebration of the rose, a very precious and significant flower for Lancome that they use quite often in their skincare products and their fragrances. The rose is actually present in their most luxurious skincare line, the Absolute skincare line, which I happen to like. The new La Vie Est Belle Rose Extraordinaire is a juicy, fruity rose. Happy, easy to wear, young but elegant with a playful character. This perfume develops and opens up just like a rose, and it becomes more beautiful as it blooms and as it develops on the skin. Initially, after spraying the new Lancome La Vie Est Belle Rose Extraordinaire, I get a bright and juicy opening of sweet orange and flowers. Nothing harsh, nothing complicated, but a simple beauty. This first spray for me paints a picture of a young girl that just arrived in Paris. It's summertime, the weather is beautiful, she's ready to explore the city. She puts on her lip gloss and sprays La Vie Est Belle Rose Extraordinaire and goes to discover the city of lights. Around 15 minutes after spraying La Vie Est Belle Rose Extraordinaire, the different notes start to peek through and it turns into a beautiful juicy floral perfume. I start to feel this gorgeous gourmand iris note that is signature for the original La Vie Est Belle, but here it's very much toned down by the roses. But this is not a realistic rose, it's jammy, fruity, slightly watered, and it changes on my skin. It's sweet, bright, cheerful, excellent for the spring season, to leave this playful trail of flowers. It's pretty, feminine, floral. It's almost like the magic of Paris opens up before your eyes. This is what this fragrance reminds me of. It reminds me Lancome La Vie Est Belle and Rose, but this one has, I would say, more of that clean peony, whereas the new Rose Extraordinaire is a lot more deep, it has a lot more character. Also the longevity is much better on this one. But I think that if you loved and if you enjoyed the La Vie Est Belle and Rose, I think you're going to like this one as well. La Vie Est Belle Rose Extraordinaire has more depth and it's much better and a much better longevity and projection. It's not a beast mode fragrance like the original La Vie Est Belle or the L'Extrait. The Extrait is a real beast when it turns out to performance. I wouldn't spray this one more than 3 times because the projection is amazing and it lasts all day. This one also has a good lasting power on my skin. I can still feel it 6 hours after spraying this one on my skin, and sprayed on clothes it lasts for a couple of days. So the longevity is great, the projection is great, as to be expected from La Vie Est Belle fragrances. What's interesting about this new version of La Vie Est Belle Rose Extraordinaire is that it contains Space Rose Accord. A while ago, back in 2002, the International Flavors and Fragrances Corporation discovered a new scent known as the Space Rose note. They flew a miniature rose plant called Overnight Sensation aboard NASA's Space Shuttle Discovery flight. International Flavors and Fragrances and the Wisconsin Center for Space Automation and Robotics partnered to fly the rose plant in the commercial plant research facility Astroculture for reduced gravity environment research. The end result was that the rose produced an entirely new scent that was not from Earth, the so-called space rose. I believe that the first company that used a Space Rose Accord in their fragrances was Shiseido. Of course, the Space Rose Accord right now is recreated. The measured compounds are recreated. But this is an interesting note that this new fragrance contains, and that's why I thought I would share. Here I want to quickly mention a new release from Dior. This is the new Miss Dior Parfum version that was created by Francis Kurkdjian. I think that if you loved this one, you should definitely try the new Lancome La Vie Est Belle Rose Extraordinaire, just because the two fragrances have this very nice, almost juicy, slightly gourmand, fruity floral opening. They are both slightly delicious. A lot of people, when they smelled the new Miss Dior fragrance, were reminded of Miss Dior Cherie, which was a favorite to so many people. I would suggest you to watch my video in case you're interested. The Miss Dior fragrances definitely has a lot more depth compared to this one. This is more like a watery rose, whereas this one has a lot more character. It's slightly heavier and it has almost like a vintage vibe, which we don't see here. It probably has this slightly, I would say, vintage vibe, but it's more like a vibe of elegance, sophistication, I would say, whereas here in Miss Dior, I see a little bit of a vintage vibe from Miss Dior Cherie. But these two are similar in character. They are both very happy, playful fragrances that are very suitable for spring, summertime, but they're also suitable for signature fragrances, in my opinion, because this one has a really good projection and I think can be worn during all seasons, not only for the spring and summer season. And I think that this is, I think, permanent release. as opposed to the extrait version, which is not permanent. This is one of the limited edition La Vie Est Belle fragrances. And just a quick moment to mention the bottle of the new La Vie Est Belle Rose Extraordinaire. I think that this is the most beautiful bottle created for La Vie Est Belle. It has the signature La Vie Est Belle shape with the beautiful smile here, the beautiful smile design, but the bottle is simple yet sophisticated and is engraved with rose and topped with a sparkling bowl. The bowl is really nice, beautiful, with silver accents for a touch of luxury. And the iconic smile of La Vie Est Belle this time, as usual, has been reinvented by Catherine Krunas, making way for a sculpted rose in the heart of the bottle, and the rose can be seen on both sides of the bottle. Truly beautiful creation. For me, this is the most beautiful bottle of La Vie Est Belle that we have seen until now. I would buy the fragrance even for the bottle itself, just to have it on display. It's truly a work of art because you can see here carved the beautiful rose right in the center, starting from the center of the bottom and going outwards. And each petal of the rose is celebrating women's identity and the character, different characters of women and different traits of women, which I think is a nice touch. So what made La Vie Est Belle so special and more successful than Chanel's Coco Mademoiselle? La Vie Est Belle is a fragrance that made history. The iris gourmand that Lancome created became iconic. And back in 2012, a trio of French master perfumers, Olvier Polge, Dominique, Ropion and Flipo, created an entirely new fragrance note at the heart of La Vie Est Belle. This was the first gourmand iris of the house, and it took them 3 years and more than, I believe, 5,500 trials to achieve the required balance of 63 raw ingredients. We usually get just a few notes that the fragrance contains, but actually La Vie Est Belle has 63 raw ingredients. That's the original La Vie Est Belle. An addictive composition built around iris, patchouli and this unusual gourmand accord. This olfactory masterpiece was named La Vie Est Belle. 4 French words that don't need translation. Life is beautiful. The bottle, a simple yet elegant design, shaped like a wide smile that represents the quintessence of happiness. It's often referred to as the crystal smile of Lancome. Lancome are famous not only for creating quality fragrances, but also for their impeccable marketing strategies. They sell a dream, they sell a feeling, if you want. I think that the success of La Vie Est Belle is hidden not only in this olfactory masterpiece that Olvier Polge, Dominique, Ropion and Flipo created, but also the whole marketing campaign. This perfume became more popular than Coco Mademoiselle, and that speaks a lot. Lancome have always been famous for their ability to create magic. And here it's worth mentioning one of the most impressive fragrance marketing campaigns that they created for Magie Noir, their famous dark smoky chypre perfume from 1978. It's one of the most grown-up perfumes, but without being old ladies kind of scent, that stands alongside Opium by Yves Saint Laurent. These two fragrances were significant at this time. In a way, they represented the dark spirit of the decade. The party held for the launch of Magie Noir's entry to the American market was one of the most over-the-top displays ever seen in the name of fragrance, and the Lancome's press team decided to host their party among the tenements of New York's East Village. They turned the Saint, a gay disco, into a setting for a black tie event for 500 people. The locals have never seen anything like that. One homeless man watching the fleet of black limousines pull up outside asked who died. So that's how impressive this whole event was. This ultra-luxurious launch certainly needed to excite the crowd, and it worked. A reporter from New York Magazine wrote, and here I'm going to take my phone so that I can quote. So a reporter from New York Magazine wrote, "How can you put a price tag?" I'm just going to read it off my phone. "How can you put a price tag on the thrill of being approached by a butler bearing a gigantic floral arrangement at the base of which are hidden 10 jumbo tempura shrimp? Consider the flush of excitement that comes from munching a golden caviar heaped on a black lacquered seashell that is perched atop a gilded galaxy leaf. I read that everything, but everything in the building was black and gold, even the tableware, even the cigarettes. So apparently so overwhelmed and dazzled by all this luxury, journalists were impressed by this launch party, and then Magie Noir was a huge success. So in a way, I think that much of the success of La Vie Est Belle and all of the Lancome fragrances is usually owed to their marketing team. They definitely know how to sell a dream. They definitely know how to sell a fragrance to women, because with La Vie Est Belle, they're selling not only the beautiful fragrance here, is definitely a statement perfume, but they also sell a dream. They also sell the dream of happiness. And with the face like Julia Roberts that everybody loves, this fragrance was doomed to succeed. I think that this is a beautiful new addition to the La Vie Est Belle line. It's more fun, it's more happy than the previous two releases, and I think that the previous two releases were more aimed to please the niche fragrance lovers, because they really had this more niche character. They were a little bit more complicated compared to this one. This new Rose Extraordinaire, I think that it's a very happy fragrance. It is a fragrance that is going to be massively appealing, and immediately after I sprayed this fragrance on my skin, my partner fell in love with it. He said like, "What are you wearing? This is amazing." So just like the other fragrances from the line, it's mass appealing, and apparently men love this fragrance, because I'm getting a few compliments from men already, and I have been wearing the fragrance just for a few days. So it's one of those fragrances that men love especially. Whereas, to be honest, I haven't been getting that many compliments with the L'Extrait version. I prefer the L'Extrait version. It has a lot more character. It's probably one of my favorite La Vie Est Belle versions because of this oud note here. And the praline here is so beautiful. On me personally, I can feel the iris. This version was very close to Iris Absolute, which has a massive amount of iris. And I would say that with Iris Absolute and with the Extrait version, you really have to wait approximately 30 minutes to really start to appreciate the character of the fragrance. And these two fragrances were complex. They were amazing, but this one is a happy version. And I think that this is very, very suitable launch for the spring-summer season, because even though I love this one a lot, I would rather wear this one for an evening, and let's say that I would wear the Extrait version for an evening, for a date, and I would wear it for times when I want to be noticed, but I wouldn't wear it in the office because I think that it's way too seductive for being an office fragrance. Whereas this one is safe to be worn in the office, it's safe to be worn everywhere. It can be daytime or nighttime fragrance. It's suitable for all seasons, in my opinion. If you like floral happy fragrances, definitely check this out. I think that it's a nice addition to the La Vie Est Belle family. My only regret here is why this one was limited edition. I think that they made a mistake with making the Extrait a limited edition, because this is definitely the most beautiful, extraordinary and complex fragrance that they had in the line. So this is probably my favorite, my number one. Then the second one that I really like, my second favorite, is going to be the Intensamente, which has this fruity vanilla scent. The Intensamente version has this very nice juicy raspberry note and vanilla base. So this one has the most vanilla, and it's probably my number two, or let's say these two are almost like my number one, because this one I would only wear it for a date night or when I want to feel more seductive. I wouldn't wear it in the office, whereas this one is safe to be worn everywhere, also in the office. So these two are my number one. Then I really enjoyed the original La Vie Est Belle. I think it's hard to beat this one. It's just that you smell it everywhere on everyone, and for many years I didn't want to wear this fragrance just because I was smelling this everywhere, and I wouldn't want to smell like everyone else. But then I thought to myself, I got caught up in the excitement of La Vie Est Belle, life is beautiful, this invitation for happiness, I guess. And I would say that it's a quite unique, beautiful fragrance. And then maybe between those two, this is N Rose and the new Rose Extraordinaire. I prefer the Rose Extraordinaire just because the longevity is better, the projection is better. This one was not that long lasting on the skin. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. Let me know what is your favorite La Vie Est Belle version. I can't wait to read your comments, and until next time, bye!